we got a lot of really good tours off it, and we met a lot of really cool people, and we keep meeting cooler people coming out to the shows and stuff. No, it's been great. Like that's what we really want to play Dungeons and Dragons really bad, and we can't get a group together. I mean, you would think that you have 7, 8. Well, we have 9 in the van now, guys. You can get a really good game going, but not everybody's into Dungeons and Dragons, you know. They let me write all lyrics, which is awesome. I use them as kind of my BS detectors, and I'm like, does this sound like corny? And I'll always run the lyrics by them. But they let me write them all. First day, I woke up, I came out in my pajamas, and it was probably one of the coolest feelings in a long time. I ran into people all the way to sound check, and I was so excited, like people from Warp Tour that work on this tour as well, who we're going to see in the summer, and we saw all last summer, and just all the bands. We toured with every one of these bands except for Killswitch. Normally a band says that every time they make a record, and in some ways they become a new band, but we really did it this time and became a different band. So we show up, and there is a team, a professional kickball team of 45-year-old drunk dudes, and their only objective was to completely destroy us. Mike Richardson? Yeah. I mean, well, everybody. I mean, it's like a family over there. So Eric Weiler brought it in. Then he found me an editor that would fall in love with it and champion it. That was Scott Alley, and then I deal directly with Mike all the time. But it's mainly me and Scott have we'll call each other at 3 a.m. And yeah, back when, people that weren't even interested in comics would just be buying because they think they're worth money, and they felt kind of burned by comics, and then a lot of the comics were crap, so they didn't actually grab a readership. So you had this really poor time in comics. It was the slump after the 90s boom. So many things. I mean, I know just on the look, I had 3 years, 4 years on it, and it was started as a comic me and Sean Simon were working on with Becky Cloonan. We'd have these characters in our head. We went to a costume shop in East Rutherford. We made a rule for ourselves saying, if it's not in this shop, we can't build it, we can't draw it. So we bought all this very real stuff and then made it fantastic. I did get a guitar for my 10th birthday, an acoustic, and I just kind of taught myself, and I always knew how to sing for some reason, so I just kind of gravitated towards it. I don't know why. And there was this guy across from me. I'll never forget this guy. He was sitting like this, and he goes, "I'm never having a kid." And I was just like, this world is dark.
In the years since Black Parade, I've kind of come to learn that paralysis comes from not being in line with what's true for you.
It is different. They reacted amazingly. I mean, it was just a lot of love, They were just, the looks that I saw and the energy that I felt just looked like they were just happy I was back on stage, And that's a nice feeling. Let's start with that, and then we'll get to know the songs, Yeah, Jelly Belly makes this game called Bean Boozled. What? And basically they have all these jelly beans, and you don't know, they're duplicates, so you don't know if you're gonna get Stinky Sock or Tutti Frutti. Sure, yeah. I got into comics really young. I had to get my tonsils out, and my grandma bought me some comics to read in the hospital, and then I was hooked, and then I was always buying them. And then I started writing them at 15, and then I went to art school. My major was cartooning illustration. I interned at DC for a year and a half, so I have a long comics history. Yeah, I actually just talked about this today, too. So there was a robbery, and we were held up at gunpoint, and I was on the floor, and they put the gun on my head. And, I probably should have been way more scared than I was, but, I'm glad I didn't die. The comic was supposed to be a comic for people that maybe hadn't read comics before. It was supposed to be we skip the first 50 issues. We just throw you right into what's fun about it. We don't do origin stories. The origin's one panel. In East Orange, I think, he became the inker of the book. So then we did that for a couple issues, and I think we just kind of, I don't know if it was that we got bored of it or, but I guess we felt we had accomplished something, so let's move on to other stuff. It's the first time though in so long, so it was really crazy change, and I had a really great week because of that. I didn't fixate on deadlines, goals. I have to get this much work done. So sometimes Ray will come over, not anymore obviously because of quarantine, but he'll play the guitar and they'll both kind of collaborate on the guitar sound.
All right, we're gonna play you a song off of 3 Cheers, but before we do that, we're gonna, I don't know, it looks pretty comfortable. You guys at the barricade comfortable? Do we need to back up at all? Are you good? You seem good, right? I kind of kind of like supposed to sound like you're when you were a kid. I think fans are different now, but like when you were a kid in the 80s, you have these big like fans and you would like yell through them. And I was like, man, fucking My Chemical Romance still getting violently booed in the year 2022.